Hey everyone, welcome back to another StarCraft 2 cast. Today this is actually the finals of the Numericable Cup. We do have MarinKing Prime on the Antigua Shipyard on the top right as the blue Terran player, and of course on the bottom right we do have SKMC. This is the finals again of the Numericable Cup, so this is going to be a very interesting game between these two top-notch players. MarinKing Prime pretty much doesn't need, actually MarinKing, sorry, doesn't need any introductions. He is one of the best Terran players out there. In regards to SKMC, I couldn't really pull up anything on him so far, but I'm sure he's got to be somewhere around on the internet. But so far this is the finals of the Numericable Cup. We do have, I think this is a 6-game match, so we will see what's going to be coming out of this match soon. Let me just take a look at the actual sounds. I think it might be, no, it's fine, a little bit too loud, but so far that seems to be doing pretty fine. So far nothing happening between both players. Of course, every single player is droning up, and we do have MarinKing Prime going directly for the second command center, including SKMC going for that command center, of course going for that scout. It's really in his best interest to make sure to see what exactly MarinKing Prime is up for, in case he is going directly for that one base push that he'd like to keep that in mind. Then he would have to change and change his build in accordance to that, of course, and build in accordance to that one base push. But of course he did manage to scout out. He didn't really still spot the second command center there, but he is proving a little bit of a harass here, and he finally did move down to the second command center. So so far it doesn't seem to be that he might be on the winning end of the bout. This SKMC is proving to be a little bit of a very good micro player in terms of harassing. He did get the better part of the harass, and he'll probably be moving back in and dealing with this as well. He will continue his harass on these drones and prove to be efficient, especially he's going for the drone that already is pretty much damaged. So if he will pull this off, he will pretty much damage that drone or get that drone killed. SKMC is still trying to make that just an initial harass. I don't know why he's persistent on that. He is going for that cybernetic score. The first Marine's out, and of course that is the end of the harass for SKMC. No probes have been lost. So far the Protoss do have an advantage in terms of harassing the actual players. Initially we do have 3 barracks directly off at the first 2 bases, so he is going just directly for those Marines and getting as many of those Marines in play as soon as possible. And SKMC is finally sending down that first Zealot, of course, to the bottom of the ramp to keep that nicely defended, and a nice wall off with these Marines is happening here as well. He wants to prevent any of those units from streaming and not even bothering to upgrade, just producing Marines as far as it can go. So far the first Stalker as well is being placed down. Is that another pylon again on the top right? This is actually a pretty effective way to scout out and really detect any of those drops coming in by placing pylons around the edges of your actual territory. That's what most of the StarCraft 2 players are doing. We do have that, of course, that bunker again. It's going to be manned as soon as possible once that bunker is completed, and the moment that bunker is completed it will prove a great advantage. So far the center of the map, of course, goes to SKMC, and nothing much is happening here. We do again have that side pylon just to spot out any of those drops in case any drops are coming, as mentioned before. So he did place that pylon, of course, on the top side. We do have that Stalker again as well being positioned here just in case, maybe give him a little advanced scouting. I don't think he'll actually use this Stalker to scout. That's a lot of resources used just to keep a scout in, and he'll just be moving around just to be sure in case anything else is placed on the sides. So far we do have the cybernetics, let's take a look at it. It is here, robotics facility, sorry, being placed down. Finally we do have the tech lab in place, STEM research coming online, so maybe there might be a starport as well, but of course the factory is pre-required. Bunkers coming up to prevent the actual creating of the initial wall for the actual entry to his actual 2 bases. So we do have finally the first observer as well, so he will be getting that initial scout out on MarinKing Prime and spot that out. Now that is nearly completed. 2 more gateways in place actually, so if he did manage to push out initially he would actually have an upper hand so far, because MarinKing Prime does have enough Marine counts to be able to take out that one Zealot and that Stalker before those 2 sentries were in place. But I think there's enough energy to place down at least one of those force fields, so even all these Marines won't really prove much because the force fields will stop that from pushing forward. And directly we have that starport, so this should be a reactor. We will have a hot swap, so double medevacs coming into play. So far finally all the add-ons have been added to all the barracks. We do have a double tech labs coming into play, and he is going for that third base as soon as possible. So this wall off is proving to be very effective, and he's finally going to be moving down to that third base, but he's still going to start construction of his third command center. So I do believe it will be coming into play once he gets a nice bio ball up and ready, and maybe making a couple tech lab for this factory and getting a couple of siege units in play. That observer, of course, has been moved down here. Did he actually scout out anything? We do have another observer, so 2 observers there, 1 in the center of the base and 1 down here. Of course, he did spot all this out, and I'm not sure if he did actually see it. This is the question. He didn't really spot that out. So he's moving, of course, with the factory and a couple of Marines to take the center of the map, and of course he does see this. So SKMC does see this, so he did move, of course, his drone far away. He did move his drone away from the actual center of the map of the Zolnaga Tower, so he did have that advantage of scouting this out, and in accordance to that he will be building up and moving his units into position. So as you do see, more warprints coming in, and this should pretty much be able to take care of this. No Marines, no medevacs, finally 2 medevacs coming into place. The stim research is complete, so right on time. Unfortunately, he should wait just a little bit more to get that concussive shell and that level 1 upgrade, because SKMC doesn't have it, and those force fields are perfect, just allowing 1 Marine to slip through, and he could have actually got a pot shot off at those units, more units, especially this Colossus, and that is the end of MarinKing's push. This is going to be very, very effective. Of course, he stims and moves back. He knows that there's no way he will be able to take care of that, and this factory will be dropping as quickly as possible as it got here. It will be dropping, and that is the end of this factory scout. Unfortunately, the factory was a loss, and nothing really came out of it, so we'll have to be rebuilding that factory again, but he probably is just going for that bio build. So finally, now SKMC is pushing out with those Colossus. Nothing to counteract those Colossus. So do we have a couple of Ravens? Yes, we do have 2 Ravens in play, and a 3rd Colossus in, including that 3rd command center for MarinKing Prime. Now that observer is really key in positioning. You do see those observers in these key points. So far he didn't spot that army moving back, and anyway a scan did come down, so he did spot the actual units, and of course SKMC does decide to do a little bit of maneuver. The observer, of course, moving across just to spot out where we do have that positioning down, and a very nice feel from MarinKing Prime. He did manage to take that out, and another pylon has been dropped down by, of course, SKMC to get those gateway units as early as possible there. So here's the probe again, another probe being moved forward, and finally that observer is moving forward and being placed on the top line. Of course, we do have the vision, of course, by the observer, so that will be coming down. He is of course going to be trying to go maybe for that 3rd base. He did push that scan out, and he did of course take out the observer as he did spot that out. We do finally have those Ravens in play. He is going to be trying to kite those Ravens, those Colossus just a bit, and he will be going for, will he go for that 3rd base? Yes, he will. Unfortunately, MarinKing Prime will be a little bit too late. He might actually end up losing this. Will he be quick enough to lift it off and move it away? This is the question being, or will he actually lose that? Now this is his actual key advantage in being able to move forward and get as much damage off as possible. Very nice force field, and of course this pretty much goes down to SKMC. He will pretty much be able to mop up everything else, and we don't have any tanks at all to support this bio build, especially with this many Colossus. I don't see this to be very efficient for him. We only have 3 Ravens in general, and not really enough to take care of this many Colossus. So this is a lot of kiting happening from here, and again those Colossus are moving forward. A massive steam bio ball is moving forward. Force fields being placed down to prevent them from retreating. Finally the actual Ravens will be able to mop out those Colossus, but I don't see that this is going to be very effective with the amount of stalkers we have warping in, and more stalkers again being warped in. So this is really a very, very aggressive push. This bunker still isn't actually armed at all, though. We do have a very, very heavy bio build. We do have more barracks coming into play. We do have 3 barracks, 4, 5. We do have 5 rack build, and finally he's moving out. We'll be taking out this pylon, and SKMC deciding to retreat and knowing that he can't really hold off that aggressive push. That observer again very key in keeping an eye in terms of any upgrades or pushes happening, and he is going to be moving back his actual orbital that actually survived that actual aggressive push. We do have 1-1 upgrades for the scan, of course, coming down, and this is the time when he needs to get in and dirty. Finally, those Ravens should be able to take out the Colossus. Colossus drops, should move the Ravens back. Ravens, of course, being pushed down to make just a little bit of cover fire. Steamed up unit should be nicely taking care of these units. There are no upgrades at all for this Protoss. Steamed up Marines should pretty much rip through this. We do have just that one, of course, Immortal, that being target fired. Very nice done, very nicely done by MarinKing Prime. Of course, more backup coming into play, and the more Marines and more Zealots being warped in, more Marine backup, sorry, coming in, and Zealots being able to take this out. So far, losses, very heavy losses on both sides. These, of course, Marauders are just being able to survive. Again, more Marauders coming into play, and he should be able to push through. Finally, MarinKing Prime has enough units that he needs, especially those Marauders will prove very, very heavy in terms of slowing down those units and taking the damage down. So far, this is very effective. Of course, target firing that Immortal. Immortal does drop, and SKMC calls it a GG, and a very nice play, very nice bio build by MarinKing Prime. And the first game, of course, goes to MarinKing Prime. As always, happy gaming. Hope you enjoyed it. See you guys in game 2. Bye.